Hey YouTube, today's video is not going to be on fishing. I recently ran into a problem with my iPilot Link remote, and it's only 2.5 years old. The first thought that popped into my mind was that it was the battery, and then I thought, well, this isn't old enough to have a battery problem, but turns out it was exactly that. Today I'm going to show you how to change that battery. Here's what you'll need. I've got a small Phillips head and a small flathead, and you may need a pair of needle nose pliers. You'll see why in a minute, and of course you'll need that battery. At any rate, let's get into it. First, I'm going to disconnect this lanyard, get it out of the way. And of course, we're going to have to take the Phillips head and loosen the screws. Take them out. I was having problems with this this remote not charging fully for a while, and then it went down to almost nothing. Tried to charge it. Of course, it wouldn't take a charge. It would charge up to about 1/4 and stop. Okay, now that we have the screws out, let's take the back off. Comes off like that, and you can see there's the battery, and you have this little piece in here. Let me show you something about this piece. See these little grooves right here, here, and here, all the way around it? They fit in this channel right here. So when you put it back together, you have to just flip it over and make sure that fits into those grooves and seats, because that's what makes it waterproof. You won't be able to get back together, I don't think, if you don't do that. At any rate, let's take out this battery. And let's move this out of the way. And here's where I take my flathead. You can see what we have here. Let's see if I can do this without let's see if I can do it with you guys being able to see it. But I take that flathead, see the little green, I don't know what that's called, whether it's called a motherboard or not, but that's what I'm going to call it. Slightly pull. It's easy once you get it going. Wiggle it back and forth, and it will come out. Like I say, don't put a whole lot of pressure on it, because if you scratch that motherboard, I don't know, you may have to buy a new remote. It's easier than the way it looks right here, because I'm having to do this where you guys can see it. Keep working and wiggling and pulling, and it will pop out. It's that easy. All right, let's set that aside and get the new battery. As you can see, I got this off eBay. Okay, and here's the new battery. That's what it looks like, exactly like the other one. The numbers on the one I ordered, for some reason, are a little different, but it is the same battery. I did get this off of eBay. I don't know whether you can see it on this camera or not, but there's a little different side to that clip. There's a notch in what is the bottom. That will be the bottom. So the solid part goes on in the upright position. And what you can do is slightly bend this end. Now be careful, because you don't want to break it off. But slightly bend that end like that, so you can fit it in to the slot. See if I can do this where you guys can see it. And once again, I get my little small flathead screwdriver and kind of work it in there. Be careful and don't push down on your wires here, because that flathead may go through that coating. You don't want that. Push it in until it stops. You don't have to force it. And that is it, my friends. And what you want to do is, like I say, make sure the little rubber piece here is seated. And what you can do is, without pulling too much on those wires, put that battery into that. Or let's see if it'll work the other way. Get it kind of centered, and work it down on there. Make sure it goes down on, and put your screws back in with your Phillips head. Now, I told you may need a set of pliers, needle nose, regular pliers, whatever. Mine were loose enough, but just in case yours aren't loose enough to get out with these little screwdrivers are hard to handle. You can't get any torque on them. At any rate, if you'll take a pair of pliers, if you're having trouble breaking them loose, and just break them loose just like that. Put downward pressure on it and clamp and turn. At any rate, when you're putting this back together, don't over torque these. You're putting them into plastic, and you definitely don't want to over tighten. And that ought to do it. Okay, you can see that it only has a quarter charge on it, but it's only because I just need to plug it up and charge it. New battery doesn't have a charge, so I'll plug it up and charge it. Should be fine.